My husband cheated me. It all began like any ordinary love story. Anna was a young woman in her early 20s, bright, devoted, and full of hope. She believed she had found her forever in David, a man who could charm anyone with his smile. They lived in a cozy house in Seattle with their 4-year-old son, Ethan. Anna's younger sister, Lily, often visited. She was cheerful, spontaneous, and had always been close to Anna. The three of them would share dinners, laugh over movies, and spend weekends in the park with Ethan. From the outside, they looked like the perfect family. But beneath that perfect picture, cracks were forming that Anna couldn't yet see. David had grown distant. Longer office hours, a phone that never left his hand, and a strange tension that filled the room whenever Anna entered. She told herself he was just stressed from work, but her instincts whispered something darker. One rainy evening, she returned home early with Ethan asleep in her arms. The living room lights were dim, and faint laughter came from down the hall. Lily's voice, David's voice. Her heart froze. Anna stepped closer, her breath trembling. She pushed open the half-closed bedroom door, and in that moment, her world collapsed. There they were, her husband and her sister, the two people she trusted most, bound together in betrayal. David tried to speak, to explain. Lily cried, saying it just happened. But Anna didn't scream. She didn't throw anything. She simply gathered her sleeping son, walked out into the cold rain, and never looked back. That night she sat alone at a bus stop, clutching Ethan to her chest. Her whole life had turned to ashes. "You still have me, Mommy," he mumbled in his sleep. Those words were her only warmth. The divorce came quickly, ugly and cruel. David had money, lawyers, and manipulation on his side. Anna, still shattered, couldn't fight the way she wanted. The court gave David full custody, claiming his financial stability was better for Ethan's future. When the judge's gavel fell, Anna felt like her heart had been ripped out. Ethan clung to her as officers gently pried him away. "Mommy, don't go," he cried. She kissed his forehead and whispered, "I'll never stop loving you." Not for a single second she left Seattle that night, carrying nothing but a small suitcase and a photograph of her son. Anna settled in Denver, a city where no one knew her name. She rented a tiny apartment above a laundromat and took a job cleaning offices. Every night, she fell asleep crying, clutching Ethan's picture to her chest. But she refused to stay broken. One morning, she saw an ad for a design assistant. Anna had always loved decorating spaces, turning emptiness into beauty. She applied. Within months, her natural eye for detail made her stand out. Clients loved her warmth and honesty. Soon, she started her own small business, Haven Home Designs, working from her apartment. She began transforming tiny apartments for single mothers, charging little at first, just to help others like her. Slowly, word spread. Years passed. Projects grew. Her designs began appearing in magazines. She hired a team, moved into an office, and built a name that echoed across the state. At 35, she was a millionaire, but a lonely one. Every birthday, every Christmas, she bought a small gift and mailed it anonymously to a children's shelter in Seattle, hoping somehow Ethan might feel her love through the world's quiet corners. 15 years later, Anna was invited to speak at a charity event in New York for young architecture students. She smiled politely through the crowd until she heard a familiar name called to the stage. Ethan Miller, scholarship recipient for sustainable architecture. Her world stopped. A tall young man with her eyes and David's jaw walked up to accept the award. He looked confident, yet humble. She could barely breathe. She wanted to run to him, but her feet wouldn't move. When the event ended, she gathered her courage and approached him. "Congratulations," she said softly. "Your project was beautiful." He smiled politely. "Thank you, ma'am." His voice, it was David's tone, but her warmth. Anna's eyes filled with tears, but she held them back. "You remind me of someone," she whispered. Before she could say more, a voice came from behind. "Ethan, let's go." She turned. It was David, older now, colder. Their eyes met for the first time in 15 years. Anna, he said stiffly, didn't expect to see you here. Neither did I, she replied, forcing a smile. Ethan looked between them. You two know each other? David's voice was tight. She's an old acquaintance. Let's go. But Ethan's eyes stayed on Anna, a flicker of confusion behind them. That night, Anna left an envelope for Ethan with the EV. Ethan with the event coordinator. Inside was a simple note. For your first studio, may you always build rooms filled with truth. At the bottom of the letter was her business card. Ethan opened it days later and, curious, searched her name online. Articles appeared. From Nothing to $1 Million Vision, the story of Anna Parker. He clicked on one video and heard her say, homes are made of honesty. Without it, they're just walls. He felt something shift inside him. That night, he confronted his father. Dad, that woman. Who is she really? David sighed. She left us for another man, Ethan. She chose money over family. Don't let her fool you. But Ethan wasn't convinced. He found the number from her card and called. Anna's voice trembled when she heard him. Ethan? They met in a small cafe the next morning. When he walked in, she could barely speak. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, my baby. He sat down, shaken. You're my mother, aren't you? She nodded. Yes. I never stopped loving you. I just couldn't fight your father's lies. Ethan's voice broke. He told me you ran off with some millionaire. That you didn't want me. Anna took his hand. I left because your father betrayed me with my own sister. I couldn't raise you in that house. I wanted you to grow up in peace, even if it meant without me. Just then, the cafe door opened. David walked in, his face hard. Ethan, he said sharply, we're done here. She's manipulating you. Ethan stood, shaking. No, Dad. You did. You lied to me all these years. David's face darkened. Everything I did was for you. Ethan stepped closer. No. You did it for yourself. He turned to Anna. If you'll have me, Mom, I want to come home. Anna could barely breathe. You already are home. Over the following months, they rebuilt their bond piece by piece. Ethan spent weekends helping her design community homes for single parents. They laughed, cooked, and learned each other again. One afternoon, they stood together in front of a new building, the Sun and Moon Studio, dedicated to children separated from their parents by custody battles. When a reporter asked why he chose that name, Ethan said, because even when you can't see the sun, it's still shining. My mom taught me that, in the crowd, David stood at the back, tears hidden behind his glasses. For the first time, he saw what real love looked like. Love built on truth. As the ribbon was cut, Anna whispered, we finally built a home that no one can take away. And when Ethan hugged her, the 15 years of silence finally ended, not with revenge, but with forgiveness and peace. Final line, voiceover or last narration. Some people lose everything and find themselves. I lost my family and found my truth. And in the end, truth brought my son back to me.